Good morning, I'm Steve Slocum, and this is another Squeaky Wheel Commentary. Today's show topic, why am I doing these commentaries? Fair enough, but first, welcome to the Williston Basin, where most new residents continue to call a coulee a ravine or a valley or even a holler is hopeless. We move on to the subject matter, which here always deals with the safe and responsible development of North Dakota's oil and gas.
I see the look in your eyes, I know I'm simple and plain. A country boy can't survive too many ways in your game. So you can say what you will about your helping hand. I know I'll never be more than just your dumb white trash.
Why am I doing these commentaries might run right alongside the reason you are listening to them. Basically, it boils down to two things. One, the probable potentiality of the Williston Basin, which is huge and a half. And number two, I won't tolerate rudeness.
Love touches us all, and yes, we're black and we're white. Out here in the cut, still living side by side. So never mind what you've seen, and just forget what you heard. Another ignorant redneck, just some Hollywood words. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto.
Today, we'll discuss the heartbreak I experienced when it finally dawned on me that my state of North Dakota doesn't have my back when it comes to developing oil and gas. And then I thought, how rude is that?
No, I'm not tame. The only voice that speaks for me speaks from this clay. The boy, you ain't never take a dime from the man. Starve to death before you live by a government handout. And they call it poverty. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto. Life in a country ghetto.
After years of watching the lack of engagement and proper investment in developing oil and gas, one thing that kept gnawing on me was, why doesn't my state have the backs of its citizens in western North Dakota? Why? From 2008, it was obvious the state was very interested in taking the rewards of oil and gas development, but totally uninterested in accepting any risk. While western North Dakota was getting beaten and battered by rapid development, the state never adjusted the appropriation of $4 million per biennium to its Energy Development Impact Fund. At the same time, all of the political subdivisions throughout western North Dakota did their job as directed by the North Dakota Impact Office.
Life in a country ghetto. 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 Life in this country ghetto.
Yes, the public servants throughout western North Dakota took the time to fill in the paperwork for what they felt were justifiable impacts, only to have it go to a state that already knew there was only enough money appropriated to pay 10 or so % of the impacts identified. Our theme song today, Life in a Country Ghetto by J.J. Gray, is the theme song today, and I'll be right back, and we'll wrap this squeaky wheel up. I'm back. And while the 63rd legislative session in North Dakota came up with much better numbers for its oil-producing counties and cities, it's the motivation for the spending that causes my angst. Is the motivation the fact that pretty much every infrastructure is maxed out or wore out, or is the state finally getting a conscience when addressing the impact needs of its citizens in western North Dakota? I tend to go with the former. At least returning substantially more cash is ramping up. The state of North Dakota reminds me of that guy who calls himself a good dad, but was really a dad in biology only. He never changed a diaper, never read a book, never built a fort or a snowman, never played catch, and a lot of the time never even showed up. Sure, the guy is a dad, but his performance is not good enough to claim he was the best he could be for his family. I want my legislators to be like really good moms and dads. I want men and women there who care deeply about the well-being of our land and our people, our culture and community. I want people who always, no matter what, have the backs of their citizens. And while I'm at it, I'd also like an apology from the governor of North Dakota. I'd like him to apologize for the short-sightedness of the government he leads. I'd like him to apologize for the state government intentionally shorting the cash required to deal with the massive impacts of oil and gas development since oil was first discovered in the state. I'd like him to represent a state apology over not doing the due diligence in planning for oil and gas development that cost many their homes and everyone their quality of North Dakota life. It would be a step in the right direction and restore some confidence that the state of North Dakota would do what is needed in protecting the backs of those in western North Dakota who continue to pay a very high price for the state's prosperity. Many will say, well, good luck with that, Steve, or that ain't going to happen. Well, if it's come to that, since we are our governors and legislators' bosses, we have two clear choices. One, we all go buy an even bigger TV and then stay out of their way. Or we saddle up, boys and girls. Last I heard, they work for us. We need our best and our brightest in Bismarck, not our left and our rightest. I'm Steve Slocum, and this is the Squeaky Wheel Commentary. Would love to hear from you about the issues facing western North Dakota. Send an email at squeakywheelradio@yahoo.com. As long as you are on your computer, and if you agree with some of what you hear here, send a squeak to your legislators as well. It's not a tweet. Tweets are pointless and narcissistic, and so yesterday. Send a squeak instead. Get your legislator's email address, and in the subject line, just type Safe and Responsible Oil and Gas Development. Then in the message area, just type the word squeak, S-Q-U-E-A-K. That's it. If they don't know what it means, they'll find out. However, it might not dawn on some until November. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Until then, I'll see you later.